Good morning. 2025 is not just a date on the calendar, it's a declaration, an alarm clock shaking you awake, a clarion call from your future self saying, enough is enough, you can't keep doing what you've been doing and expect different results. If you want something different, it's time to be someone different. 2025 is not just a number on a calendar, it is an invitation, a powerful, undeniable call to transformation. Each year we make resolutions, we jot down goals, and we dream big, but often those aspirations dissolve as quickly as they form. Why? Because we fail to truly acknowledge the magnitude of the moment we are in. 2025 isn't asking for you to set another resolution, it's demanding that you set a revolution, a complete and total shift in how you see yourself, your purpose, and your potential. The call for change is not passive. It does not whisper or ask politely. It shakes you, stirs you, and demands a response. And yet so many of us resist. Why? Because change is uncomfortable. It disrupts the familiar, it shakes up the routine, and it challenges the narrative we've been telling ourselves for years. But here's the truth: nothing worth having ever comes from a place of comfort. Growth is birthed in the soil of discomfort, in the tension of transformation, and in the refusal to settle for mediocrity. 2025 is calling you to step into that tension, to lean into that discomfort, and to say, I am ready to become who I was always meant to be. Some of you have been running from change because it feels overwhelming. You look at the mountain ahead of you, and all you see is how far you have to climb. But let me remind you, the mountain was never meant to intimidate you, it was meant to elevate you. The very challenges you fear are the same ones designed to take you higher. It's time to stop focusing on the size of the mountain and start focusing on the strength of the climber. You have everything within you to conquer this season, but you must first decide to start the journey. Acknowledging the call for change also means recognizing the patterns that have kept you stuck. Some of us have spent years recycling the same habits, the same thoughts, and the same behaviors, hoping for a different outcome. Einstein said it best: insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you want 2025 to be different, you must be willing to break the cycle. That means confronting the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. It means looking in the mirror and saying, I am the architect of my life, and if something isn't working, I have the power to fix it. Change begins with a choice. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal set of circumstances. There will never be a perfect time to change. The conditions will never be flawless, and the stars will never align in perfect harmony. If you're waiting for the right time, let me tell you, the right time is now. The longer you delay, the longer you deny yourself the life you were meant to live. Stop waiting for permission to change. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your journey. This is your life, your year, and your moment. Own it. For some of us, the call for change has been knocking for years, but we've ignored it because we've become comfortable in our dysfunction. We've normalized the pain, the frustration, and the disappointment, convincing ourselves that this is as good as it gets. But let me tell you, complacency is the enemy of progress. You were not created to settle. You were not designed to live a life of just enough. There is more in you, more for you, and more waiting on the other side of your decision to change. But you'll never experience it if you stay anchored to the familiar. Change requires vision. You cannot move forward if you're constantly looking back. Some of you are stuck because you're holding on to past mistakes, failures, and regrets. But hear me, what's behind you cannot define what's ahead of you unless you let it. 2025 is not concerned with what happened in 2024. It's not holding you hostage to the missteps of yesterday. The only thing that matters is what you decide to do today. Will you carry the weight of the past, or will you release it and step into your future? Acknowledging the call for change also means embracing the fact that you won't have all the answers right away. Change is messy. It's unpredictable. It's filled with uncertainty. But guess what? That's where faith comes in. Faith is the fuel that keeps you moving even when the road ahead is unclear. It's trusting that each step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the person you were meant to become. Don't let fear paralyze you. Don't let doubt deter you. Take the first step and trust that the path will reveal itself as you go. As you step into 2025, understand that the call for change is not just about achieving goals or checking off boxes. It's about becoming, it's about evolving into the person who can handle the blessings you've been praying for. So often we ask for more, but we're not prepared to handle it. This year is your opportunity to do the inner work, to fix the foundation, and to become the version of yourself that's ready for the next level. Don't shy away from the process. Embrace it, trust it, and allow it to transform you. This year is not here to repeat the past. It's here to rewrite your future. Will you answer the call? Will you step into the challenge? Will you fix yourself so that 2025 becomes the year you finally step into the greatness that has been waiting for you all along? The call for change has been made. Now it's up to you to answer. Taking ownership of your life is one of the most empowering decisions you will ever make. It is the moment you stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward for solutions. For too long, we've been conditioned to believe that life happens to us, that circumstances dictate our outcomes, and that external forces are responsible for where we end up. But the truth is, your life is the sum total of your choices, your mindset, and your actions. Until you take full responsibility for those, change will remain out of reach. Ownership begins with accountability. It means no longer blaming others for where you are in life. It's easy to point fingers at your upbringing, your boss, your spouse, or even society, and while those factors might influence your circumstances, they do not define your destiny. The real question is not what happened to you, but what you're going to do about it. The minute you stop assigning blame and start accepting responsibility, you unlock the power to change your narrative. Too often we fall into the trap of victimhood. We let life's challenges convince us that we are powerless, that the cards are stacked against us, and that we simply have to endure. But let me remind you, as long as you see yourself as a victim, you will never step into victory. Victimhood is a mindset, and like any mindset, it can be changed. Ownership requires you to shift from asking, why is this happening to me, to asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? What is this situation trying to teach me? That shift changes everything because it moves you from a position of passivity to one of power. Taking ownership also means recognizing the role of your choices. Every decision you make, big or small, shapes the direction of your life. When you wake up in the morning, you're faced with countless opportunities to either build the life you want or stay stuck in the life you don't. It's in the way you spend your time, the people you surround yourself with, the habits you cultivate, and the thoughts you entertain. Ownership demands that you stop running on autopilot and start being intentional about every single choice. Are your decisions moving you closer to your goals or further away? Are they helping you grow or keeping you stagnant? Those questions are the compass for taking control of your life. Owning your life also means owning your mindset. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. If you consistently think you're not good enough, not capable, or not deserving, those thoughts will manifest as your reality. But the beauty of ownership is that you have the power to change the narrative. You can choose to think differently. You can choose to believe in your potential, even when the evidence isn't there yet. Ownership is not about waiting for proof, it's about creating it. It's saying, I may not see the results yet, but I believe in my ability to achieve them, and I'm willing to put in the work to make it happen. Another critical aspect of taking ownership is letting go of excuses. Excuses are nothing more than permission slips to stay the same. We tell ourselves we're too busy, too tired, too old, or too young, and those excuses become the chains that hold us back. But here's the hard truth: as long as you cling to excuses, you'll never grasp the life you truly want. Ownership requires brutal honesty with yourself. It requires you to call out the lies you've been telling yourself and replace them with truth. The truth is you are capable. The truth is you do have time, you just need to prioritize. The truth is you're not waiting on the right moment is waiting on you. Taking ownership also involves embracing failure as part of the process. So many people are afraid to take responsibility because they're afraid to fail. But failure is not the opposite of success, it's a stepping stone to it. Every successful person has a trail of failures behind them. The difference is that they didn't let those failures define them, they let them refine them. When you take ownership, you stop seeing failure as a dead end and start seeing it as a detour, a necessary part of the journey to growth and success. It's not about getting it right every time, it's about getting back up every time you fall. Finally, taking ownership means understanding that no one is coming to save you. It's a sobering but liberating realization. No one else is responsible for your happiness, your success, or your fulfillment. It's up to you. That doesn't mean you can't seek help, support, or guidance along the way, but it does mean that the ultimate responsibility rests with you. Ownership is about stepping out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat. It's about deciding that your life is too important to leave in anyone else's hands. When you take ownership of your life, you claim your power. You stop waiting for external circumstances to change and start changing yourself from the inside out. It's not an easy journey. It requires humility, discipline, and perseverance, but the reward is freedom. The freedom to live a life that aligns with your values, your vision, and your purpose. It's a freedom that only comes when you decide to take full responsibility for your path and commit to walking it with intention and determination. This is your life, and it's time to own it. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not against external forces, but within your own mind and heart. These are the battles that happen in silence, when no one else is around, when the lights are off, and it's just you and your thoughts. They are the struggles that test your character, your resilience, and your willingness to grow. Confronting and overcoming these inner battles is not optional if you want to live a fulfilled life. It is the only way forward. Inner battles come in many forms: fear, self-doubt, guilt, anger, procrastination, insecurity. They manifest as whispers in your mind, convincing you that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, that you're destined to fail. These voices are relentless, feeding off every misstep, magnifying every weakness, and amplifying every uncertainty. But here's the truth: those voices do not define you. They are echoes of past experiences, reflections of false beliefs, and shadows of fears you've carried for too long. You have the power to silence them, but only if you confront them head-on. To confront your inner battles, you must first acknowledge their existence. Denial only gives them more power. You cannot overcome what you refuse to face. It's tempting to bury your struggles under distractions, to keep yourself busy so you don't have to deal with what's really going on inside. But avoidance is not a solution, it's a delay. The battles you ignore today will resurface tomorrow, stronger and more demanding than before. Acknowledging your inner struggles is not a sign of weakness, it's a demonstration of strength. It takes courage to admit, "I'm afraid I'm struggling," or "I'm hurting," but in that admission lies the first step toward freedom. Fear is one of the most common and paralyzing inner battles. It whispers lies about your future, exaggerating the risks and minimizing your potential. Fear tells you to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid the unknown, to play it safe. But the comfort zone is a prison disguised as a sanctuary. It keeps you from pursuing your dreams, taking risks, and discovering what you're truly capable of. The only way to overcome fear is to face it. Step into the very thing that scares you. Fear loses its power when you confront it. It thrives in the shadows but shrinks in the light of your action. Self-doubt is another formidable opponent. It's the voice that questions your abilities, undermines your confidence, and convinces you that you're not enough. It often stems from comparing yourself to others, from believing that their success diminishes your worth. But self-doubt is a liar. It ignores the unique gifts, strengths, and talents you bring to the table. Overcoming self-doubt requires shifting your focus inward. Stop measuring yourself against others and start measuring yourself against who you were yesterday. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Celebrate small victories and remind yourself that growth is a journey, not a destination. Guilt and regret are battles of the past. They anchor you to mistakes, missteps, and missed opportunities, replaying them over and over in your mind. While it's important to learn from the past, it's equally important not to live there. Guilt and regret serve no purpose if they don't lead to growth. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know, for what you couldn't do, and for the ways you've fallen short. Letting go of guilt is not about excusing your mistakes, but about releasing their hold on your future. You cannot move forward while dragging the weight of yesterday. Anger and resentment are battles that consume the present. They keep you chained to the actions of others, allowing their behavior to control your emotions. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It doesn't hurt them, it hurts you. Overcoming anger means choosing forgiveness, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness is not about condoning the offense, it's about freeing yourself from its grip. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean you forget, it means you prioritize your freedom over your pain. Procrastination is the battle of delay, the quiet thief of time and opportunity. It disguises itself as harmless, convincing you that tomorrow is a better day to start. But procrastination is rooted in fear and perfectionism. It's the fear of failure, the fear of imperfection, the fear of not being ready. Overcoming procrastination requires action, no matter how small. Start where you are with what you have. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. Each small step chips away at the mountain of tasks before you, and before you know it, you've built momentum. Insecurity is a battle of identity, a struggle with your sense of worth and value. It convinces you that you're not attractive enough, smart enough, talented enough, that you're not enough, period. But insecurity is a reflection of external influences, not internal truth. It's shaped by societal standards, past criticisms, and self-imposed limitations. To overcome insecurity, you must redefine your sense of worth. Your value is not determined by your achievements, your appearance, or anyone else's opinion. It's intrinsic, unchanging, and undeniable. Remind yourself daily of who you are and the unique purpose you bring to the world. These inner battles may feel insurmountable at times, but they are not undefeatable. The key to victory lies in persistence. You don't have to win every battle today, but you must commit to the fight every day. Some days will be harder than others. Some battles will take longer to conquer. But every step you take, every effort you make weakens the grip of your struggles and strengthens your resolve. Confronting and overcoming inner battles is not about eliminating struggle altogether, it's about rising above it. It's about becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient with every challenge you face. Building consistency and discipline is the cornerstone of success in every area of life. It is the quiet, steadfast force that transforms dreams into reality and goals into accomplishments. While talent and ambition might spark the fire, it is consistency and discipline that keep it burning. These qualities are not glamorous or instantly gratifying, but they are the foundation upon which greatness is built. Consistency begins with a commitment to show up every day regardless of how you feel. Emotions are fleeting and unreliable, they ebb and flow like the tide. If you wait until you feel motivated, inspired, or ready, you will never start. Consistency demands that you act even when you're tired, discouraged, or tempted to quit. It's about honoring your commitments, not because it's easy or convenient, but because you made a decision. It is the practice of choosing progress over comfort every single time. Discipline, on the other hand, is the muscle that strengthens consistency. It's the internal driver that says, I will do what needs to be done even when I don't feel like it. Discipline is not a punishment or a burden, it is a tool for liberation. It frees you from the chaos of indecision, the guilt of procrastination, and the frustration of unfulfilled potential. Discipline simplifies your life because it eliminates the need to negotiate with yourself every time a challenge arises. When you're disciplined, the decision is already made. You don't ask, should I work out today or should I stick to my goals? You simply do it because it aligns with the vision you've committed to. The path to building consistency and discipline is not easy, but it is straightforward. It begins with clarity. You must know what you want and why you want it. Vague goals lead to vague actions. When your vision is clear, your actions become intentional and your priorities align. Take the time to define your goals in specific, measurable terms. Whether it's improving your health, growing your career, or deepening your relationships, clarity provides the roadmap for consistency and discipline to follow. Once you have clarity, the next step is to start small. Too often, we get caught up in the idea of making massive changes overnight. But true consistency is not built on grand gestures, it's built on small, repeated actions. If you want to become disciplined in your fitness, start with 10 minutes a day instead of trying to overhaul your entire routine. If you want to build consistency in your work habits, focus on completing one key task each day before adding more. Small victories build momentum, and momentum is the fuel for consistency. Building consistency also requires a shift in mindset. Too many people see discipline as restrictive, as though it takes away their freedom. But the opposite is true. Discipline is what allows you to live with intention and purpose rather than being ruled by distractions and impulses. It's not about what you're giving up, it's about what you're gaining. Every time you choose discipline, you invest in your future self. You create a life of alignment where your actions reflect your values and priorities. Accountability is another essential ingredient. No one achieves consistency and discipline in isolation. Whether it's a mentor, a coach, a friend, or a community, having someone to hold you accountable can make all the difference. Accountability creates external pressure to stay consistent, especially when your internal motivation wanes. It's easier to stay disciplined when someone else is cheering you on, checking in, or reminding you of the commitment you made. Surround yourself with people who challenge and inspire you to be better, and you'll find it easier to maintain consistency. Another key to building consistency is learning to manage setbacks. There will be days when you stumble, when life throws unexpected challenges your way, or when you fall short of your goals. But consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Missing one day, one workout, or one goal doesn't mean you failed. What matters is what you do next. Do you give up or do you get back on track? Consistency is built in those moments when you choose to rise again, no matter how many times you've fallen. Building discipline also means developing habits that support your goals. Habits are the building blocks of consistency. They take the effort out of decision-making by automating the actions you want to repeat. To create a habit, start by anchoring it to an existing routine. If you want to meditate every morning, tie it to a habit you already do, like brushing your teeth. Over time, the new habit becomes second nature, and consistency follows naturally. Time management plays a crucial role as well. Consistency and discipline thrive in structured environments. Plan your day with intention. Set aside specific times for the actions that matter most and protect those times as if they were appointments with your future self. Distractions will always try to creep in, but discipline means saying no to what doesn't serve your vision. Guard your time fiercely, and you'll find it easier to stay consistent. Finally, reward yourself for progress. Discipline is not about deprivation, it's about balance. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. Acknowledge the effort you've put in and the growth you've achieved. Positive reinforcement keeps you motivated and reminds you why consistency is worth it. When you associate discipline with positive outcomes, it becomes less of a chore and more of a choice. Consistency and discipline are not traits you're born with, they're skills you develop through practice and persistence. They require effort, but they yield extraordinary rewards. They transform ordinary actions into extraordinary results, turning potential into reality and dreams into accomplishments. When you commit to building these qualities, you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, one step, one choice, one day at a time. The environment you surround yourself with has an undeniable impact on the person you become. Just as a seed requires fertile soil, sunlight, and water to grow, your potential requires a growth-oriented environment to flourish. The people, perspectives, and energies you allow into your life will either nurture your aspirations or stifle them. If you are serious about becoming the best version of yourself, you must intentionally surround yourself with influences that inspire growth, challenge mediocrity, and encourage excellence. Growth-oriented influences begin with the people in your life. Relationships are not neutral. They either push you forward or hold you back. Take a moment to evaluate the individuals closest to you. Are they people who challenge you to think bigger, dream bolder, and strive harder? Or are they people who drain your energy, diminish your confidence, and discourage your progress? This isn't about judging others, it's about protecting the space where your growth happens. The truth is, not everyone in your life will share your vision, and that's okay. But those who don't support your growth should not have the loudest voices in your journey. To create a growth-oriented circle, you must seek out people who are ahead of you in the areas where you want to grow. These are the mentors, leaders, and role models who inspire you to elevate your standards. Their experiences, wisdom, and perspectives serve as a roadmap for your own journey. Being around such people keeps you grounded in possibility. They remind you of what is achievable and challenge you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Surrounding yourself with individuals who have already walked the path you aspire to follow accelerates your learning and sharpens your focus. It's equally important to cultivate relationships with peers who share your hunger for growth. These are the people who are striving alongside you, who understand the challenges you face, and who celebrate your victories as if they were their own. They hold you accountable, encourage you when you falter, and remind you of your purpose when you're tempted to give up. There is a unique power in walking a journey with others who are equally committed to growth. Together, you create a dynamic of mutual inspiration, where each person's progress fuels the momentum of the whole. Beyond people, growth-oriented influences include the content you consume. In today's world, information is everywhere, but not all of it is beneficial. What you read, watch, and listen to shapes your mindset and informs your actions. If you feed your mind with negativity, distractions, and superficial content, it will reflect in your life. But if you immerse yourself in material that challenges your thinking, expands your knowledge, and uplifts your spirit, you will see the fruits of that influence in your growth. Books, podcasts, lectures, and even social media can be powerful tools for growth when used intentionally. The spaces you occupy also play a role. Your physical environment should reflect your commitment to growth. Whether it's your home, workplace, or community, these spaces should inspire creativity, productivity, and peace. Clutter, chaos, and disorganization can drain your energy and distract your focus, while clean, intentional spaces foster clarity and drive. Consider creating a designated area for reflection, learning, or working on your goals. Let this space be a daily reminder of the person you are becoming and the work you are committed to doing. Another significant growth-oriented influence is the culture you immerse yourself in. Culture is the collective mindset, attitudes, and behaviors of a group or community. If the culture around you normalizes complacency, mediocrity, or negativity, it's only a matter of time before those traits seep into your mindset. But when you align yourself with cultures that celebrate excellence, innovation, and resilience, you naturally rise to meet those standards. This might mean joining organizations, clubs, or communities that share your values and ambitions. Being part of a positive, forward-thinking culture creates an atmosphere where growth is not only encouraged but expected. However, surrounding yourself with growth-oriented influences doesn't mean avoiding challenges or dissenting opinions. Growth often happens in tension, in the friction between differing perspectives. Seek out diverse viewpoints that challenge your assumptions and broaden your understanding. Growth-oriented influences are not about creating an echo chamber. They're about exposing yourself to ideas and perspectives that stretch your thinking. The key is to approach such influences with an open mind, a discerning spirit, and a commitment to learning. To truly benefit from growth-oriented influences, you must also be willing to be influenced. Surrounding yourself with inspiring people and ideas is only half the battle. The other half is allowing those influences to shape your actions. It requires humility to admit that you don't know it all, courage to embrace change, and discipline to apply what you've learned. Growth is not passive, it's an active process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. Be willing to ask questions, seek feedback, and take constructive criticism. Growth-oriented influences will challenge you, and sometimes that challenge will be uncomfortable, but discomfort is a small price to pay for transformation. Finally, remember that surrounding yourself with growth-oriented influences is not a one-time decision, it's an ongoing commitment. Life changes, seasons shift, and what served you in one phase might not serve you in another. Be intentional about regularly evaluating your influences and making adjustments as needed. Stay aligned with your vision and let every influence in your life support that vision. Growth is a lifelong journey, and the company you keep along the way will determine not only how far you go, but also how fulfilling the journey will be. In a world that often celebrates immediate results, instant gratification, and quick fixes, cultivating the ability to focus on long-term vision is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. Short-term gratification feels good in the moment, but it is fleeting. It gives you a temporary sense of pleasure or relief, but it doesn't build the foundation for lasting success, fulfillment, or growth. True greatness, however, is achieved by those who are willing to delay immediate rewards for the sake of long-term goals in the bigger picture. Focusing on long-term vision requires a shift in mindset. It means thinking beyond today's desires, beyond today's discomforts, and beyond today's quick wins. It is the ability to envision where you want to be in the future and make decisions today that align with that future. It's about making choices that may not feel immediately rewarding but will pay off exponentially over time. It's a commitment to building something that lasts, whether it's a career, a relationship, personal growth, or financial security. People who focus on long-term vision have the patience and discipline to work consistently, even when they don't see instant results. One of the key aspects of focusing on long-term vision is clarity. When your vision is clear, it becomes easier to make decisions that support it. A person who has a clear vision of where they want to be in 5 or 10 years will approach every opportunity and challenge differently from someone who is simply looking for quick wins. The person with clarity can differentiate between the distractions that promise immediate satisfaction and the tasks that contribute to lasting success. Without a long-term vision, it's easy to be swayed by fleeting temptations, to give in to impulses that offer short-term pleasure but leave you empty in the long run. The temptation for instant gratification is everywhere. It could be the urge to indulge in unhealthy food, binge-watch television, or spend money on things you don't need. It could be a social media scroll that provides momentary entertainment but ultimately wastes hours of your time. These small, seemingly harmless habits add up, distracting you from your larger goals and preventing you from making progress toward them. Every time you give in to instant gratification, you delay your future success and happiness. It's like taking one step forward and 2 steps back, always returning to the same place instead of moving toward your destination. Focusing on long-term vision requires making sacrifices. It's about saying no to the things that feel good in the moment but ultimately don't serve your greater purpose. This could mean foregoing short-term pleasures, whether that's indulging in a shopping spree or skipping the gym for a night out. In these moments, you must remind yourself that what you are working toward is far more important than momentary satisfaction. The discipline to say no today is the key to saying yes to a brighter tomorrow. Each decision to prioritize your long-term vision over short-term desires builds the muscle of self-control and strengthens your resolve. Another aspect of focusing on long-term vision is resilience. The road to achieving significant goals is rarely smooth, and the journey often requires enduring discomfort, setbacks, and failure. Immediate gratification can provide an escape from those uncomfortable feelings, but it will also prevent you from growing stronger. When you focus on the long-term vision, you understand that difficulties are part of the process. You learn to embrace the struggle and keep moving forward, even when things don't go as planned. You may not always get the recognition or the rewards you desire in the moment, but you trust that persistence will pay off. Long-term success is built on a series of small, sometimes difficult steps that accumulate over time. It's also important to understand that short-term gratification can sometimes lead to regret. In the pursuit of immediate pleasure or relief, you might make decisions that feel good at the time but have negative consequences down the line. Overindulgence in food or drink, procrastination in work, or spending beyond your means can give you a fleeting sense of happiness, but often leads to feelings of guilt or dissatisfaction later. When you focus on your long-term vision, you begin to make decisions based on the outcomes you want to see in the future. You consider how each choice will impact your life, not just in the next few hours or days, but in the months or years to come. This perspective allows you to avoid decisions that provide temporary pleasure but lead to long-term pain. One of the most powerful aspects of focusing on long-term vision is the sense of fulfillment it brings. Short-term gratification often leaves you feeling empty because it is based on external pleasures rather than internal growth. The fulfillment that comes from pursuing a long-term vision is deep, lasting, and meaningful. When you achieve a goal that you've worked hard for over time, whether it's running a marathon, building a successful business, or paying off debt, it brings a sense of pride and satisfaction that cannot be replicated by a quick fix. This fulfillment is the reward for all the hard work, sacrifice, and delayed gratification along the way. To stay committed to your long-term vision, it's important to break it down into manageable steps. Large goals can feel overwhelming, and the lack of immediate results can be discouraging. But when you break your vision down into smaller, achievable tasks, it becomes much easier to stay focused. Celebrate the small victories along the way and allow them to fuel your motivation. As you make consistent progress, you'll find that the journey itself becomes fulfilling and the rewards feel even sweeter when they come. In the end, the ability to focus on long-term vision is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who are caught up in the cycle of instant gratification. By consistently choosing the future over the present, you set yourself on a path that leads to greater fulfillment, personal growth, and achievement. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. The long-term rewards will far outweigh the temporary pleasures, and in the process, you will become the person you were always meant to be. In conclusion, the journey to success and fulfillment is not defined by the shortcuts we take or the immediate rewards we seek, but by our ability to focus on the long-term vision. It is about making choices today that shape the future we desire, regardless of the temptations of short-term gratification. This path requires clarity, discipline, resilience, and sacrifice, but it leads to lasting growth, deeper fulfillment, and a sense of accomplishment that cannot be found in fleeting pleasures. When you align your actions with your vision, you set yourself on a course toward not just achieving your goals, but becoming the person you are truly meant to be. The rewards of your long-term commitment will surpass anything that instant gratification could offer, and in the end, it will be the perseverance, patience, and focus on your vision that define your success. Stay committed, stay focused, and watch as the seeds you plant today grow into a future beyond your imagination.